Are we doing that now? Oh,
I guess. You want us to sit down while we do this and you're going to open it? Okay.
Oh, no. This is so official. What's happening?
Fat ass.
What did you do? Wait, that's big. What the fuck?
So this box...
Shut your mouth.
But
open it,
our
go.
100 gift... and episode gift.
Uh-huh.
This box has been sitting downstairs for months, and you have not asked about it one time.
I don't pry into your business.
It just made me laugh because it's such a big box.
It is. What is happening? What can be in there for this? I don't understand.
Just a small...
Michael's
surprise.
cutting it on the bottom.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so this...
Yeah, why is it interesting? This is a very weird way to open the box. You guys are very weird. I'm very weirded out. What's going on?
It's not a big deal. It's just kind of cool. Oh, I was like, what a weird way to box something.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
very
seen it
taped.
either, so like this is kind of a surprise for both of us. But
You've left it in this box.
yeah, I've in it for months now.
Okay.
So I got really obsessed with Goodwill online, and you have to like bid for stuff. And
Bid?
Yeah, I saw this, and I was like, we must have, and what it is,
We must
is
have.
a replica antique dish set from the Titanic.
Shut your mouth!
And this is second class, so I thought that was very appropriate for us.
That we would be second class.
Yes. So it looks like everything's in bubble wrap, so we're gonna have to like, it'll be a whole thing.
We'll flash forward to after all this unpackaging. It's a whole set.
Yeah, it's a whole set.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby,
And I'm Shawna.
and this is Anxious.
And afraid.
A very momentous occasion of an episode.
This is a special episode, guys. You know it.
It's episode 100.
It's our version of a rave.
Yep, that's what just happened.
Yep. Oh my gosh, look at us. We're here. How did we do it? We don't know.
It's a miracle, honestly, that we got here, and just really proud of us.
Wow. I mean, wow.
Wow.
Long time, a lot of work, a lot of hours.
Yeah, we actually put some thought into this episode, and
There was times where we're like, yeah, we're not going to get to 100. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And here we are.
we did it.
I don't understand.
Blood, sweat, and tears. We did
Truly,
it.
Truly.
And I mean, like,
Proud
the
of
world
us.
tried to make it not happen again by freaking COVID.
Oh my gosh. The things that are dodging our lives.
We're just constantly dodging COVID.
Yeah. Do you want me to update? Okay, so we took a break. Yeah, and we took an extra long needed break because my husband Chad ended up getting COVID.
Yep.
We posted about that to update y'all, and we're fine. He's fine. Baby's fine. I didn't get it. Baby didn't get it.
Honestly, a miracle. I don't know how you guys didn't get it in the same apartment. Like
I know.
wild.
I was for sure like, I'm done for. Like, this is gonna happen.
Yeah, like how do you avoid it? I mean, you weren't sleeping in the same room, but still, like,
Yeah.
you're breathing the same air.
Yeah, like, I mean, he was still like using things in the kitchen. I mean,
Yeah.
he would like wait until I'm done, and then he would go in there. I'm like, we're touching the same stuff. I mean, I was still like spraying everything.
Yeah.
And like,
Well, maybe that's why,
wearing
because you were like
masks.
extra careful.
Like, we really tried for like a whole weekend, 3 days of like masks, like not being in the same room.
You had masks on inside?
When we had to get like close to each other, we did a couple of times, and then we like slowly gave up, and we like were slowly like, okay, like, I'm tired of avoiding you. Also, I need help with baby, please.
Right. Because, like, having a baby, I mean, you really don't want to both be sick. Like,
No.
Ugh.
And so I like took care of her for a solid 2 days, all over the weekend, and then when he started, he would like wear a mask, wash his hands, all that stuff.
and she didn't get it.
No, we're all fine. No signs of nothing.
Dang. Well, it sucks that he got it because he felt like shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're both vaccinated and boosted, and he still got it really bad for the whole weekend. He was pretty much bedridden, feeling like hot garbage, he said. So. But luckily it was short-lived, so.
Yeah.
And then his mom got it, and now she tested negative, thank goodness.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm like, it's hitting us.
I know. I
it's
feel
here.
like we all dodged it for so long, and it just
Honestly.
inevitably is just going to catch up with us.
How did I still dodge it?
I don't know. You're some kind of ninja. You just like pew, 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 pew.
Wow.
Impressed.
What about you, girl? What's up?
Oh, you know, just like being pregnant and stuff. Like
That's what I used to say.
like officially look pregnant.
You do, Abby.
I know you came over today and it was like popping.
I haven't seen you in a while, and I'm like, that's your belly, bitch.
It was just really over the last few days that it like, yeah, Michael's nodding because like, isn't that
it wasn't
wild?
like that at the beginning of the week.
It wasn't. All of a sudden, I was like,
You can honestly
What
change
the
overnight.
You were commenting at the beginning of the week the shape of your belly, how it wasn't like out in the middle, but
Yeah.
sort of like
it was like a
And
B
now-
shape. I mean, it's still kind of a B shape, but
Yeah.
like now it's just like boom.
Rounded.
It's out.
Yeah, and it's firm and it's so weird.
He popping.
Yeah.
Cute. So cute.
So it's been cool. I mean,
I'm
I'm
good.
doing good. I've had some like weird pregnancy things, like nosebleeds a lot, and not like actively bleeding, but like just my nose is always bloody. It's gross. Wasn't expecting that one. All of a sudden became like weirdly allergic to my deodorant. So I had to switch
Right.
that. I was having like the weirdest, most painful armpit rashes for like months, and I could not figure it out. And then realized all of a sudden the deodorant I had been using forever no longer is okay.
It's so weird how pregnancy changes
I was like,
your body.
you're not allowed to use that organic deodorant that's supposed to be good for everyone. Use something else. Like, fine. So using native, which is supposed to be like, I don't know, really like not a lot of chemicals in it. So,
Right.
but yeah, not barfing. So really lucky there.
You're not burping?
Barfing.
Barfing.
I got really lucky with
That's
this,
good.
with the morning sickness. I feel like I just had it in the first trimester, and then it pretty much went away.
Yeah.
A lot of
pretty
headaches
classic.
though.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot
a
of
bummer.
headaches. Yeah, my doctor's always just like, it'll get better soon. I'm like, you're lying to me.
Yeah, they're like, oh, honey, you're pregnant and you just have to
I
wait.
know. He's always like, are you taking magnesium? Yes, I'm taking magnesium. Like, are you exercising? And I'm like,
No.
don't ask me that question. But, you know, what are you going to do? But, oh, did we? I don't think we said, but we're naming him Theo, which is
Okay.
A whole
yay,
thing.
Cute.
not Theodore, Theo.
Love that.
Theodoric.
Wow, harsh. Okay. No, but I get it.
No, but I don't know. I would just like Theo just like by itself.
Oh, I prefer that too.
I reserve the right
a
to
little bit
call
more
him whatever
modern.
I want.
Theodoric.
Yeah.
Theodore.
Yeah, mostly that.
It's going to happen
We're going to
anyways.
bully our child. He's such a Theodoric.
That's funny. You're his first bully.
We got to toughen this kid up for school, okay? It's harsh out there.
Oh, no, that's cute. Congratulations. Love it so much.
Thank you. We've been working on the nursery, which has been a lot. It's hard because it's upstairs and it gets hot upstairs, so then
Yeah,
I just
summertime.
really don't want to come up here.
Yeah, no way. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's the summer.
We're going to be sweating through this episode. Just know that.
I'm already stuck to this chair.
Yep, same.
It's like a leather chair, and I'm wearing shorts, so
Yeah.
glued in.
We should put like towels on or something.
Oh, you're smart. We should have done towels. Too late now. I'm
On
stuck.
our break. We'll do
Okay, somebody will have to peel me off of here.
it. I'll grab you up. I'll put you up.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to talk about?
I mean, 100. Let's do it.
Oh, did you want to talk about how you fell?
Oh. Thanks, Abby. Great.
You're welcome.
So,
Everyone has to know about this because
sure.
it's just so ridiculous.
So I hate that it's my reputation of like I constantly fall. I'm known for falling, unfortunately.
She has trick ankles. She's like Meg from Hercules. Just like, oh, these trick ankles.
They are trying to kill me for sure. I constantly roll on my ankles, and I don't know how I have not actually broken it.
Honestly, it's a miracle. Like,
Honestly.
this isn't just snapped into.
I don't know how I've done this so many times and gotten. I mean, the day before or a week before my wedding at the bachelorette, I fell on stairs like right on my ankle. It was swollen so bad.
At the beginning of the whole bachelorette night,
Limping the whole time.
Shawna's trick ankle went out on some stairs at a drag show, and that
Beginning
thing
of the night before a drink.
swelled up, and that girl just drank and went through it.
I said, "Give me the liquor, and we're gonna still continue."
I can't believe we were walking a lot too.
Yeah, I regretted it the next morning. I
Oh,
was
for
like,
sure.
"Oh shit, I shouldn't have walked on this so much.
I did some damage.
I did a bad thing."
You're like trying to get the like barmaid or whatever to give us ice. We're like,
A bag of ice, please. It's my bachelorette party.
We have to rally.
Yeah, that's my famous one. Well, I did another major fall down the stairs. I have 5 stairs outside of my apartment that go down. Our apartment's like halfway in the ground, kind of.
They're mole people.
Whatever. It keeps us cool. We like it.
I know, it's actually really
Except
nice.
for the spiders. The one I had to vacuum up this morning was not okay. But yeah, so like last week or so, I just like did a casual on the first step, rolled my ankle, and really tumbled down those 5 stairs.
And they're like they're not soft stairs. Like,
nope.
Are they concrete or
everything's concrete and hard? And I tumbled, and you saw like each stair step down my leg as the bruises appeared.
You guys, the bruises were massive. They were so gnarly.
Fully down my whole leg on each side of me, honestly, and my elbows and knees. I was rough.
That's a dramatic fall.
I limped for a few days.
You fell from the top of stairs. I've never seen that happen in person.
It felt like a cartoon. I felt like I was in a cartoon. I was like, what a dramatic theatrical fall.
I'm like, I know I shouldn't laugh, but just imagining it, like your just legs flying. It's so sad and funny. And
I'm so glad no one saw it. I'm so glad no one saw it.
Honestly, that's pretty lucky.
Yeah, I was like, no one saw it. I don't need to tell anybody, but I still tell people.
Look away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said we have to get Shawna a life alert she's just fallen
I'm just going to keep falling, and I'm getting older. And
we're going to get her a necklace.
It's going to be the way I die, I'm sure.
Just fall down some stairs.
It's true.
We'll get you one of those motorized chairs for your stairs, and you just slowly
I'll need it.
Go up.
Or just not any stairs. But yeah, I'm fine. I have my ankles have 9 lives, and I've used 5 about now.
Oh God. You don't even have half left. You slow down. You're using too many.
I'm only in my 30s. I know.
You're not even halfway done.
Wow. Yeah, I'm fine though. They're healing up. It's cool. It's been an okay time.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you didn't break anything.
Honestly, truly, thank you.
And how's Rylan?
She's good. She's the best baby. She's just my everything, my joy, her smile.
She's the cutest thing.
Best thing I've ever made.
I need to see her. I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, you need to nom on those cheeks.
Mom.
They're not very nominal right now.
She wasn't very happy with me holding her last time, though, so we'll see.
And we need to get her used to people.
She's a little introvert.
She still cries to my mom sometimes, and then she has to get used to her, and then she's happy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have so much work to put in. She's like my cat Cinder, where it's just like, you've lost privileges. You've been away too long, so I hate you now.
I don't remember you, yeah. You avoided me.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, we're all good. I'm glad we're all good.
Good. Well, should we start?
Let's do it.
This is wild. Okay.
What are we doing?
So, okay. Hello and welcome to our most momentous episode 100.
100.
Did we think we would get here?
Nope.
Quite frankly, we did not. But here we are. And we are so excited to share all of our past sods with you all. And we thank
I love that you're keeping that.
I'm keeping it. And we just thank you all for sticking with us because it's been a bumpy ride for sure.
Yeah, definitely like a lot of breaks in between. Life gets busy, but we're still trucking along and you're still listening and we still love it.
Yeah, we got some like real good fans. So you guys are awesome. Like,
thank you so much.
I really do appreciate you all. Because we couldn't have been here without you. I mean, what would the point be?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so today's going to be a little different than what we are used to because Shawna already knows the topic of our episode today.
I do.
Because, yeah, we just collaborated a little bit to make this extra special. So she knows my topic. However, she's probably not going to know a lot of the details of the story.
No.
So there's, I'm sure, going to be a lot of like her iconic gasping along the way.
I'm here to give it.
That's what she does. I keep touching Michael's foot under the table. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize for playing footsie with me.
It's kind of funny though because we both have bare feet, so it's weirding me out.
Ooh, I can't. No.
Okay, so for episode 100, we thought we would bring you guys back kind of where this all started. The ocean, the sea, the big ass,
Good point.
terrifying ocean.
The ocean is no joke. She be crazy out there.
She's kind of a bitch, but we love her.
We love her. We just don't mess with
respect
her. Yeah, we respect her.
We
should clean her up, actually.
We should. Y'all be treating her like a toilet, and it's not okay.
It's not okay.
No wonder she's pissed. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, our first episode was on the sinking of the Titanic, much like the gift from the beginning of the episode.
Gosh. Thank you so much, Abby. Those are such cute things. We'll post those on our Instagram, of course.
Yeah, we'll post the pics. Like,
group.
Such a crazy, best like impulse buy I think I've ever accomplished.
I just love that you're my best friend and you just do things that no
Only
other
we
person
would
would do.
appreciate.
Yeah. No one fulfills and continues my Titanic obsession than you.
It's because I'm also obsessed with it. So it's a great
Wow.
little thing we have going.
That's so great.
Can't wait to use all that stuff. We're probably gonna drink out of those cups later.
We should with our pinkies up.
Or pinkies up. We're second class bitches.
For sure.
We could not afford first class, I'm sure.
No way.
Maybe not even second.
Honestly,
Maybe they put us in the
We're
bridge.
kind of like dreaming that we're second class.
I know. Okay, so yes, back to the ocean. Our first episode is on the Titanic. This episode will not be about the sinking of a ship, but it will involve lots of seawater. Mm-hmm. Because today we will be discussing a natural disaster of epic proportions.
Which is like one of our top fascinating, I'll say, disasters that we
And fears.
really like get affected on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a disaster so terrifying and anxiety inducing for us personally that we have not yet dared to cover it, which is wild. In 100 episodes, we have not covered.
Honestly, and we've mentioned this disaster before and how we have like nightmares of it,
Yes.
but we haven't approached an actual event of it. So here we are.
Yep. So today we will be discussing an earthquake and a tsunami,
Which are both the worst.
two natural disasters of recent years that devastated the country of Japan,
Yep.
also known as the Great Tōhoku earthquake and tsunami, which took place in 2011. So yes, today you're not getting one but two terrifying natural disasters.
Wow.
I apologize in advance for the trauma.
That's a big spoonful.
Yeah, a spoon and a fork. It's going to be 2 bites.
We should use the whole Titanic set for this, actually. That's how big it is. Yeah.
Okay, so as for the sources for this episode, I read a book called Ghosts of the Tsunami by Richard Lloyd Perry, which was super good. I also read a lot of different articles. I watched some documentaries. I listened to a podcast called Great Disasters, all of which I will, as always, provide in the show notes.
I was going to say, I want to watch the documentaries you did.
Mostly on YouTube, because most of the documentaries I could find were mostly just like footage of what was going on rather than kind of like explaining everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the footage is insane.
There's lots of footage.
So much because it was so recent. So obviously watch that stuff, but like, yeah, good stuff. Okay. Are you ready to clench those butt cheeks?
I mean, they're already been clenched. I already have less air in my lungs. I am ready.
I know. I also have less air in my lungs. I'm like, so, okay, here we go. So the country of Japan is no stranger to earthquakes. They happen so often there that most people are unbothered by them when they occur. But, of course, most of those earthquakes are much smaller than the 2011 event. Mm-hmm. More than 5,000 earthquakes are recorded each year in Japan.
Whoa.
That's a lot. With over half of those lasting only seconds in the 3 to 3.9 magnitude range. So not huge, and
right.
they don't last very long. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them just go unnoticed. Mm-hmm. However, they aren't all tiny. More than 150 will measure higher than a 5.0 magnitude.
And what's the highest? Like, is there a scale?
I mean, I think the highest recorded is like 9 point something.
Which isn't it this one?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But
spoiler. But yeah, it goes.
I just didn't know if there was like a limit, like kind of like isn't.
I'm sure the
tornadoes
Richter scale tops out somewhere.
Yeah, 10, it just blows up the planet.
Yeah,
10,
that's what I was thinking.
10, you all die.
Like 10, 11, we're out to space. Like,
good Lord, an 11. I mean, 9 is already so catastrophic. I don't know. Can you look it up, Michael, where it ends?
Oh yeah, I can definitely
Google it,
be
Michael.
on that Wikipedia
That was my
page
goal in the
already.
first place.
He's already just going to follow.
It's just a lot of reading, so
This Wikipedia page for this disaster was the biggest, most complex Wikipedia page
Really?
I've ever gone through.
Wow, I bet there's tons of information.
I mean, just the sources at the bottom was just like a scroll. You had to scroll.
yeah, still reading. Fascinating.
We can cut this
Okay.
out.
Oh yeah.
I found it. So there is no upper limit.
Oh, so it can be... Okay.
Yeah,
There's no
so-
limit.
The limit does not exist.
That's scary.
Yeah, because, I mean, I guess we just don't know how big they can get. So they're like, might as well not put a limit on it.
Okay.
Terrifying. Okay, so all of this activity is based on a couple of factors that place Japan in the literal hot seat. Japan, much like our neck of the woods in the Pacific Northwest, is located on the Ring of Fire.
Dude, why would you have to mention that we're on it? Like,
I'm saying, like, remember the Mount St. Helens episode? Hello,
yeah,
who
I
could
know, I
forget?
don't like it. Okay.
So it's weird that we live. I mean, it's so different from Japan. You're just like, how we have that in common. That's so weird.
Like, it literally could happen to us at any time.
Yeah.
Like, how is it not? Don't even get me started.
So the Ring of Fire sounds cool, but it's really not an ideal place to live if you don't like the looming threat of impending natural disaster, which we've lived with plenty of those horrifying documentaries. They're like, it's all going to end someday.
It's all going to come crashing down.
Some areas are better than others, but, Japan is not so lucky. We won't be talking volcanoes today, but they have 265 potentially active volcanoes.
Whoa.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
The reason Japan is so seismically active is that it is located on top of 4 different continental plates.
Whoa.
It's a lot of plates.
No wonder.
It's not even that big, and it's on 4.
They're all clashing with each other.
Yeah,
That's
so-
why there's so many earthquakes.
Exactly. So you've got the Pacific, the Philippine, the Eurasian, and the North American plates, and those babies just love to bump and grind on each other, which in turn causes earthquakes.
Scary.
In addition to that, there's also the Japan Trench, which is a giant rift in the seafloor located in the northwest part of the Pacific. It's 800 meters long and reaches a depth of over 8,000 meters.
Ew.
And guess what? There's volcanoes in there.
Ew.
And those volcanoes can cause earthquakes.
Ugh. They're on the land. They're in the water. This earth is crazy.
I know, I'm like, Japan.
Why does anyone live there?
Calm down, Japan. You have too much.
Too much.
That's just too much going on.
Yes.
So much fun over there.
Like, how do you prepare for all of that?
You
don't until it happens.
That's why everyone over there is so, like, orderly and calm. They're just like, they have to be.
Gosh.
So as far as devastating quakes go, Japan has had its fair share. There was the 1923 earthquake in Tokyo, known as the Great Kanto earthquake, which hit 7.9 magnitude.
Yikes.
And then there was the Great Hanshin earthquake in 1995, which measured 6.9 magnitude.
Wow.
Both brought wide-scale destruction, but neither would be a match for the quake coming in 2011. And it's not like Japan wasn't prepared for disasters. I mean, their modern buildings were built with earthquakes in mind. Their cell phones had an earthquake and tsunami alert system.
Good.
And citizens participated for years in preparedness drills.
Nice.
But sadly, all of the preparation in the world can become futile when faced with a natural disaster of epic proportions.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is no winning.
It's just seconds before.
Yeah, there's
It's just crazy.
doesn't matter how much you prepare in some
Nope.
cases.
Nope.
That is like the most terrifying thing to think about. Like, it doesn't matter.
You literally cannot control Mother Nature.
Yeah, it's like literally luck of the draw in some cases.
Yeah, like you're just screwed wherever you are. And if something's happening, you're just screwed.
You're just fuzucked.
Oh my God.
Terrifying. I mean, if a 7.9 earthquake happened here, we would all be so fucked.
Oh.
For so many reasons.
So many reasons.
And what's coming for Japan is even worse than a 7.9. So the massive quake of 2011 would be preceded by several foreshocks, with a massive one happening on March 9th with a magnitude of 7.2. I mean, just a 7.2 is coming before the big, like, that's huge.
Wait, so like days before there was another huge earthquake that just happened?
Yeah, they have these foreshocks that happened before the big one. And the one coming is so big that the foreshock is like a 7.2.
Whoa.
That's a big earthquake already.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so they're experiencing lots of quakes before this big one.
Oh my gosh, so scary. Do they know that means like
I think
bigger one's coming?
Yeah,
Or,
I
like,
mean the scientists can predict like, oh, that,
but maybe
I mean,
not like
this
all the citizens.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, they're like, this one's probably not the last one, but they just didn't predict the scale of what it was going to be.
Yeah, how can you? You can't. Oh my god, you literally can't. Mother Nature's
can't.
crazy. Mother Nature's crazy.
So crazy.
Okay.
So 3 more large foreshocks would occur on that same day, all measuring over 6.
Whoa.
So like 4 earthquakes all over 6.
And those are decent earthquakes.
Yeah, like what a freaking day.
Oh my gosh.
But those quakes were only a taste of what was yet to come in the next few days.
Just a nibble.
Just a little bite. So the next day, the day was March 11th. So this is a few days after that 7.2.
Okay.
And it was about 2:45 p.m. on a Friday. Most people were, going about their day as usual, working or attending school, just another day. Unbeknownst to the citizens, sorry, Roscoe's in here. You might hear him.
He doesn't like the story either.
He's already stressed out.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Okay, so unbeknownst to the citizens of Japan, 80 miles out in the Pacific Ocean and 20 miles down inside the Earth's crust, the Pacific Plate was being forced down underneath Japan. The pressure began to build and build as the massive plates ground against each other until finally a breaking point was reached, causing a seismic slip rupture event leading to a mega thrust earthquake. And as far as earthquakes go, a mega thrust not one I want any part of. I was like, that's actually what it's called, a mega thrust.
Oh, that's nice.
It's just like, sounds very intense.
It is.
It is.
It's hard to imagine and wrap your mind around something that big and massive.
Being a part of something that big and massive.
Yeah, moving and colliding. Like, I can't picture the ground just shifting. It's just, I can't.
And it violently shifts, like pretty
big
fast.
scale. Yeah, big scale.
I mean, there's not cameras down there, but man, can you imagine if there was? You could just see it.
Wow.
That'd be nuts. So, this massive release of energy would cause the largest earthquake ever recorded in Japan's history, and the 4th largest in the entire world.
I was just going to ask about the world, so thank you.
Yeah, the 4th, top 5.
That's
in the world.
That's not okay.
In modern recording, like.
Sure, yeah.
But, like, still.
That's just massive.
It's huge. As the seismic data began streaming into Japan's earthquake monitoring headquarters, the researchers there thought the readings had to be wrong and incorrectly estimated that the quake was 7.9.
Oh my god, that's sad.
They're like,
no,
this can't be right.
That's too big.
They're like, this is obviously wrong. Like, that's too much.
Fear and denial already.
Okay. Yeah, until you start feeling it. Ugh.
Oh my god.
So this was quickly upgraded to an 8.8, then to an 8.9, finally to a 9.0, and then the USGS would give it the official rating of a 9.1.
9.1. Wow.
9.1.
That's...
I just can't. So the first shakes from the quake would be felt in the city of Sendai, which was the city closest to the epicenter, located about 80 miles away. However, the shaking could be felt as far as Tokyo, which was located 231 miles away. And there's all kinds of video footage you can look up. I mean, I think the most terrifying to me is like they have footage of the skyscrapers swaying back and forth to a sickening degree. Like,
oh my god,
they're swaying like trees, and they're huge buildings. Like,
I have not seen that, and that
oh my
sounds
god,
terrifying.
You'll shit your pants.
I am already doing that. Wow,
it is like the most. It is the creepiest footage,
you
and
need
it's
to
just
show
like
me that.
These people on like the ground looking up, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh.
They're not supposed to move that way.
That's terrifying.
Okay. So footage can be seen of people all over Japan. They're recording the earthquake, watching as items fall off shelves, bookcases start to topple over, TVs come crashing to the floor, entire ceilings start to collapse. Mm-hmm. And the shaking lasted for nearly 6 minutes.
That's so long
6
during an
minutes.
earthquake.
Can you imagine being in that violent shaking for, like, even 1 minute would feel like an eternity, but 6? And, like, people were saying, like, it wasn't, like, the normal shaking. Like, it was, you could feel it going back and forth. Like, it took a little longer to go, like, I don't know, the jerks back and forth because it is shaking on such a magnitude. Like,
I'm getting chills.
Just insanity. Like, I can't.
That's so long. And isn't there, like, footage of people, like, it'd be terrifying to be in any building. I would, like, panic to try and get out of a building.
Yeah, a lot of people did run outside.
Yeah, like, that's, like, the worst place to be. I would just imagine it collapsing. But then, like, you're just outside on the ground. Like, there's nothing to even, like, hold on to. Like, what do you do during an earthquake? You just have to sit on the ground and let it happen.
Just, like, try and survive. Because, like, other stuff can still fall down outside. Yeah. Cars can just become unparked, maybe, and just start rolling around.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Okay, so the shaking was so violent that many people were thrown to the floor, unable to stand while the ground rumbled around them.
Yeah.
Japanese citizens scrambled to doorways and under desks as they had countless times before, but realized they were facing an earthquake unlike anything they had witnessed before when the shaking surpassed 1 minute long and continued going.
They freaked out over 1 minute and it lasted 5 more minutes.
Right, because I mean, like, they're used to, like, their earthquakes lasting like a few seconds. Like,
oh my gosh, chills, which is great because it's so hot up here.
This is making me so cold.
I'm actually so chilly. Wow, this is crazy.
And this is just the first part.
I know.
Oh God, I have so much anxiety. Okay, so for many, their earthquake preparedness saved their lives as they fled to the safest areas possible. Others were not so lucky, including a large number of people attending a graduation ceremony at a high school in Sendai. The entire ceiling collapsed on the onlookers. There's video footage of that too.
No.
Yeah. They're just trying to, like, dig people out, and you can just see the entire ceiling has collapsed, like, in the seating rows.
That's terrible.
It's so sad. I mean, some people obviously were killed, and it hurt a lot of other people.
It's like it's just another huge fear of just being, like, trampled on by a building and rubble. Like, how just, like,
I know.
And then, like, still some people, like, there's so many stories of people still being alive in rubble, like, no.
Just being trapped underneath
and like waiting to die, or like, I just can't imagine.
I get claustrophobic too, and so I feel like,
about it.
Yeah, I would just.
And you can't move usually. No way. And buried under a building. No.
I mean, you can see these people. They're trying to lift this entire sheet of a ceiling off of. Oh my God, I'm just like
terrible.
And they're not barely budging it. Like, you're watching a group of people try and pull it and nothing is happening. I'm just like,
believe you watched that.
The panic.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was hard.
That's dark.
For bystanders who were outside, particularly those who lived on reclaimed land, which basically means the land they are on used to be covered in water, but humans filled the area with dirt so that they could build on top of it. So
interesting. Okay.
I know. I was like, that's a thing. You can do that.
Just make more land.
Sure. So as you can imagine, those areas aren't the most stable areas to be in.
Oh my gosh, no, they went in
during an earthquake. Something called soil liquefaction occurs, and it's essentially turning something that usually acts like a solid into something that now acts like a liquid.
Oh my God.
So you now basically have quicksand.
Yeah.
From the dirt just shifting around
so
much.
Hard dirt is now liquid mud.
Yeah. And so a lot of roads are damaged. Homes are, like, sinking into this.
Oh my gosh.
There's footage you can watch online of people watching these massive cracks form in the earth and, like, in concrete roadways.
Terrifying.
And you can just watch these cracks slowly open and close as the earth is, like, shaking. It is the most eerie footage. And then water starts to pour up through these cracks and flood the area.
I hate that.
The way it moves, it is so slow, and it's just, like, opening and closing.
It just shouldn't move
I'm
like
just
that.
like, ew.
That's so eerie.
I hate it.
The ground.
Yeah, just like a crack to hell. Like you just see to the core of the earth or something. Like it's so creepy.
Terrifying.
Now, it's truly impossible to describe to you the magnitude of this event, like in words. You just have to watch the footage.
It's so true.
But let me throw some cuckoo bananas numbers at you to truly just going to blow your mind.
Please.
If the power of that 9.1 earthquake could be harnessed, you could power the entire city of LA for a year.
A year?
A year.
LA?
LA.
Wow, that's epic.
Yeah, LA is huge.
Lots of lights.
So many people. So much traffic. Entire sections of Japan in the northeast slid about 7 feet closer to the U.S.
Feet?
Yes.
Usually you hear about inches.
Feet.
Whoa.
That's a lot. And so that actually widened some areas in Japan. Like they gained some ground.
Whoa.
They were like, hey, U.S., you're just going to scooch a little closer. So the quake was so powerful, it caused the Earth's axis to shift between 4 and 10 inches.
4 to 10 inches, the whole Earth.
The Earth axis. What? I can't.
What happened? How are we alive right now?
I don't know. Like this quake literally affected our entire Earth.
Literally moved the Earth.
Moved it. Doesn't make any sense.
That's like significant too. I feel like something like this would be like, 1/10 of a centimeter. Like it's so significant, but this is like so much.
Like measurable with your fingers distance.
Ew.
So this in turn increases the rotation of the Earth, which shortened the day by a fraction of a second.
I think I heard that. Yeah.
So this quake is like stealing our time, which is like so rude.
We have little of it as it is.
We want that back. I don't know how that happens, but we would like it back. About 250 miles of Japan's coastline dropped by 2 feet.
Jesus.
Which was only going to increase the devastation of the following tsunami.
Oh my God.
Because now it's already lower.
Ew.
The earthquake produced a low-frequency rumble called infrasound, which was so powerful that it traveled into fucking space and was detected by a satellite. I can't.
Whoa.
They could hear it happening in space.
Wait, the way you just said that sentence really hit me. They literally could hear this up in
Infrasound, they could detect it from space.
Whoa.
It's just these...
that is cuckoo bananas.
It's cuckoo bananas. It's just...
Jeez.
I can't. Okay.
You gonna cover the debris that goes all over the place?
Like in the tsunami or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's way ahead, Michael. Calm down.
Sorry, this is just the earthquake. I forgot.
Yeah, we're just on part 1.
I'm surprised you're doing this much of the earthquake.
I'm about done, but
But wow, what a
holy,
treat.
I mean, you can't have the tsunami without the earthquake.
That's true.
Gotta have your appetizer.
I'll shut up.
It's okay.
I mean, if I don't, you can add to it. If I don't say what you're thinking. Because it was really hard to dial myself back on this.
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, just the Wikipedia page alone was insane. So it could have been like a 20-hour episode, but I tried to
we won't do
limit
that to
myself,
you guys.
which is always hard for me. Okay, so you've just lived through probably the most terrifying experience of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what do you think most people will do after something like that?
I mean, you start like looking at damages and picking shit up and rescuing people.
Right, you would immediately try and reach out to your loved ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure they're safe and they survived. Mm-hmm. Well, sadly, everyone had the same idea and the phone lines went down, cutting off the main form of communication for many.
Oh, that sucks.
And electricity had also been lost in many areas.
Of course. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, not great. Within hours of the massive quakes, several aftershocks would be felt, with 3 being a 7 to 8 magnitude. Those are the aftershocks.
Oh my gosh. I know. When you think of like earthquakes and tsunamis, you kind of think of like one incident, but like it's never that. It's always more.
It's multiple.
Yes.
In the following days and weeks, hundreds more aftershocks would occur, with tremors still occurring to this day. But the people of Japan had a bigger problem to worry about as a terrifying destructive force barreled its way to the coastline and beyond. A tsunami was headed for the people of Japan, and they would have less than a half an hour to escape with their lives.
I believe it, and that's so bad. It's so terrifying.
I mean, you're just like recovering from this fucking earthquake, and now you have to deal with.
And like, how do you escape? Like, there could be like tons of damage and roadblocks, and just like
everyone escaping. So traffic, like,
and like even like higher ground, like the buildings are already damaged. So like the higher ground could be harder to get to. It's just like every bad thing.
It's very stressful to think about. So I think let's just take a quick break.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back. It's going to be stressful.
It hasn't stopped being bad.
It's just going to continue to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk tsunamis.
Gosh, here we are. Here it is.
Here it is, the big one. Of course, not all earthquakes trigger tsunamis.
Right.
In order for that to happen, certain conditions must be met. Allow me to describe to you the 3 golden rules of tsunami making.
Okay.
First off, the earthquake must be a 7 magnitude or larger.
Okay.
So only the big dogs count. In this case, it was a 9.1, which is more than qualified.
Mm-hmm.
I would say overqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down, Mother Nature. Secondly, the epicenter of the earthquake must be located underwater.
Right.
That one's kind of a duh. Thirdly, and very importantly, the epicenter must be in relatively shallow waters to generate a destructive tsunami.
Wait, the epicenter of the earthquake has to be in shallow waters?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that one.
Me neither.
So earthquakes happen in super deep water all the time. But because the event is so far below the surface of the water, there isn't enough energy generated to displace the water and trigger a deadly wave. Makes sense.
It does make sense. Also, it's just like, oh, tsunamis and earthquakes happen all the time. We just don't feel or know about it. It's underwater. And
I know. You just don't even know. It's so deep under there. We're just like, what?
we're just living on this, crazy rock called Earth. Anyways.
Does what it wants, and we just have to make it through.
Crazy.
Okay, so when the monstrous earthquake happened, one massive tectonic plate violently snapped over the other, causing about 110 miles of the seabed to thrust 20 to 26 feet upwards.
That's a lot.
Upwards. Just jutting upwards.
That's crazy. Yeah, so like water has to go somewhere. Like it's just like
exactly.
It's just like such on a massive scale. Okay.
Yeah, 110 miles. Like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that sends an enormous amount of energy radiating out in all directions, not just towards Japan.
Right.
Imagine the ripple effect of, dropping a stone in water.
Exactly.
100 billion cubic meters of water was displaced. And because this happened at a relatively shallow depth of about 20 miles, a tsunami was triggered. The wave initially travels extremely fast in the deeper water, moving at about 500 miles per hour.
Yeah, they're no joke.
That's so gross.
It's so gross.
But when the wave is moving enough through deep water to shallow water, let me rephrase that. But when the wave is moving through deep water, the height of the wave is pretty small, only about 2 feet. The tsunami was witnessed as far away as California and Antarctica, although by the time they got to those places, the waves were much smaller.
Whoa, so they saw it?
Yeah, there's video footage of a wave hitting California.
Whoa.
You can see it's like pretty violent in the bay, like boats are getting like knocked around.
That's so wild to think that. Wow, that's just like such a far distance.
I traveled all the way across the ocean. It hit, I think, Hawaii, Denmark, like all these places were affected by it. Obviously not to the same degree. I think there was a guy in California that actually was killed. He was trying to photograph it and he got swept out to the sea.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So somebody died in California from this earthquake that happened in Japan.
Whoa.
What?
That's no joke.
It's just wild. Okay, so As the tsunami begins to hit shallower water and the friction of the sea, or hits like the friction of the seabed, it slows down the wave. But in turn, it grows in height. So the tsunami traveled closer and closer to the land, with the wave growing in height until it had grown to a terrifying 45 feet in some areas.
Nope.
Although the height of the wave varied by location. That's disgusting.
I could never surf because
I mean, I've seen those wave videos of those, like, in Hawaii, those massive...
crazy surf waves, which look like tsunamis to me.
They do.
I just don't get it.
They might as well be.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to have fun in this. And I'm like...
I'm just going to ride this like it's no big deal.
I can't.
No, I'd be terrified.
I'm not built that way. And my body is just like, flight. No, can't do it. Okay. So... Also, remember that the coastline had dropped by about 2 feet, which was only going to make this worse for Japan when the wave hit.
Right.
And as I said before, there's tons of video footage of that day. And it's hard to describe the horror of seeing such an unstoppable, devastating force coming for these poor people.
It's worst nightmare.
There was an earthquake and tsunami warning system set in place, as I mentioned earlier as well. Mm-hmm. There's also loudspeakers blasting out the warning in all the cities.
It's so eerie listening to it. It's just the loudest alarm just saying, like, leave, evacuate, get to higher ground, like, now. And it's just like a movie. But it's real life. Okay, sorry, continue.
It's so terrifying. But sadly, there was people who would not hear about the tsunami until it was too late. I mean, some people maybe were out of range of the warnings, or maybe the electricity was down. I'm not sure, but some people didn't even get to hear about the tsunami. Although I would hope that they would assume one was coming because they're just so used to these kind of disasters. But still,
but I don't think they realized the scale of it and how far in it was going to go.
That's true. A lot of people were like, "Oh, we have those seawalls. Like, it'll probably be fine. We don't have to evacuate."
Psh, no way, dude.
Especially the older people. I think that was the case of a lot of the older people.
Yeah, of course.
So the people of Japan were no strangers to evacuations because of tsunamis. But in this case, like we said, many of them underestimated the height and destructive force of the wave coming for them. And it was going to be more catastrophic than anything that they had witnessed before. It also didn't help that the wave height was initially underestimated by officials who thought the wave would reach about 10 feet.
Baby wave.
Yeah, some reports say that many of the monitoring systems were actually damaged by the oncoming wave, so they gave faulty readouts.
That sucks.
I know, so much against them. Terrified people living on the coastline and beyond began to run for higher ground, carrying their children and the elderly to safety when they could.
I can't imagine. Now that I have a baby, I really have a hard time.
Just imagining yourself in that situation, like
if anything happened to her, or if something,
panic.
Yeah, I would have to. I'm literally thinking about her immediately, especially little children. Okay.
I know, and a lot of them were in school, so they weren't even with their parents.
Why would you say that?
I'm sorry.
Okay, everything's bad. Okay,
I know.
I gotta watch my voice here on this one.
Just gonna start screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So people chose what they thought would be the sturdiest and tallest buildings to take on the wave, but sadly, along the coastline, few buildings were up for the task of what was coming. It took, in some places, a mere 10 minutes for the wave to reach land.
Just 10 minutes.
That's nothing.
That's no. Oh my gosh, that's not
After recovering from an earthquake, because it's not just ready, set, go. You've just recovered from the most massive earthquake ever.
That's so true. I hate this.
So in other places, it did take almost a half an hour, which is still not that much time.
Not time at all.
Japan had constructed massive seawalls in some places to safeguard against tsunamis, but the Great Wave overtook them easily. Dozens of videos are available online to watch as hundreds of people gather on tall buildings to watch and film the oncoming wave. And if you watch these videos, you'll see that the tsunami, it's not like what they make it out to look like in disaster films. It's not like this beautiful, gigantic wave with pearly white foam on the top. It just looks more like the entire ocean has just decided to grow in height and come for the land.
Yeah, it's not like a wall, like a tall wall of water, even though it is, but it's not like the way you think of it. It's just the whole ocean is literally raging at you.
It's just rising slow, and it kind of looks slow almost because of the scale of it.
Yeah.
It's so huge, but you just kind of see the ocean rise up, and it's just like, it's so scary.
Because it recedes so much, and it just gathers all that water and pushes forward. And you mentioned it goes at some speeds of high as like 500 miles an hour. That's like airplane status. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's
airplanes
like
go that fast.
in deep water. It's traveling that fast. Once it gets to land, it's traveling much slower, but
Sure,
still like that.
that's just so much force and energy and speed in the beginning. It's just wild.
Behind so much water, like so much water.
Yeah, you really don't understand the force until like you actually see footage of it, because it's not just like a cute like little wave pool. It's just like it's like a huge it's so amazing. It's just so the force is unbelievable.
I feel like you just have to watch the videos because it's just so hard to picture.
Like, I don't understand how anyone, like, you do get swept away. Like, you can't even control yourself in that. It's just a huge rapids,
even
like
if you're
river
clinging
rapids
onto something, if you're like too close,
gushing.
There's just no way. You're not strong enough. Like,
my arms would not. I have no muscles in my arms. I would not be able to hang on to anything.
My disaster wrists would just snap in half.
You're right. You have terrible wrists. You're doomed.
Yeah, we would not make it. Sadly. So, okay, let's see here. Yeah, okay, so everyone's filming this giant wave.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
And yeah, it's not, the wave doesn't look like, like that famous like Japanese image of like the great wave or tsunami or whatever.
That's kind of what I picture.
Right, that's what I
kind of like on your shirt a little bit, but
oh yeah, I'm wearing my Jaws t-shirt today, very appropriate. No sharks in this one.
Yeah, can you imagine if it was like, and sharks were there and everything in the
Let's just add sharks. I wonder though how much like sea life did come on land. Like, I mean, it's not like those fish had any time to prepare either.
Right, but I wonder if they have a sense like animals do, in the sense of like they can feel that and escape before humans
swim the opposite direction. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, maybe they're like, bye.
You're like, this is terrible. I'm gonna leave. Actually,
yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Okay, so the people of Japan watched as the water crashes over the seawalls and begins flooding the roadways where there are still cars driving who are still trying to escape.
I also can't imagine being in a car.
No, they just get swept up so fast. I can't. They watch as the cars are swallowed up and carried off the streets, and they disappear under feet of dark water.
They make cars look like toys.
Like toys. They just get tossed around. Mm-hmm. The water continues into the cities, picking up speed as it enters narrow streets. Because now you've got this force that is just like funneling into these streets and buildings.
And it's carrying all the debris with it.
Exactly. So it's just pouring down the roadways. It's snatching up bits of homes and businesses as it goes, pulling trees up from the roots and carrying them along with the tide. Yikes. Videos are posted of entire houses and buildings just wrenched free from their foundations, set to drift down the city streets, crashing into other buildings as they go. You can see footage of people who thought they had climbed high enough, but were sadly mistaken. Oh my gosh. Within minutes, 3-story buildings are underwater. Oh. And the poor people, who chose those spots, they're screwed.
They're in water. They're buried.
And you're in 3-foot buildings, like.
That's so crazy.
Okay. So, and like there's people filming that too, which just makes it extra
eerie and gross.
Horrifying.
Horrifying.
You can hear people crying out, like people are saying like, this is the end. We're all going to die.
Oh my God.
As the water pushes further and further onto land, it becomes thick and black, full of deadly debris and pollution. Yep. The air is also hazy and choked with smoke and dust as fires begin to break out and large plumes of dust are released from the building, which has been ripped away from their foundations, and they all just begin to crash into each other.
Also, like, I did finally get enough courage to watch that tsunami movie, Impossible, which was about the other tsunami in 2004.
That movie's so intense.
It's so intense, and it was such a good movie. But that's like in a more tropical place. So when watching that, I was at least thinking, at least the ocean water isn't freezing. Right? You would think.
Right. It's
kind of
cold here.
This is freezing ocean water.
Yeah, it's cold.
Which just makes it like just so much worse.
Yeah, and it's cold outside too.
Yeah, I read the temperature on the day was like 32 degrees.
It was
Fahrenheit.
snowing, actually. I
Yeah,
think.
there's like areas where it's actually snowing.
Oh, that's so bad.
So the air smells of the sea, mud, and dust. The sounds of screeching metal and wood, concrete deafen the sounds of people screaming in the background. It's just like a horror-scape. It's a hellscape.
The screams would just be horrific.
So in the podcast Great Disasters, a story is told about a woman named Katsuku Takahashi and her friend who were racing to seek shelter in a community center in Otsuchi before they were hit by the wave. They were in their car, desperately searching for a place to park when they realized it was too late. Quote, "I'm not sure from where exactly, but it was nearby. I heard a rasping sound. Even inside the car, you could hear it. We were wondering what it was when, looking out through the front windshield, all you could see were houses everywhere. On the roofs, there was a mixture, something rusty and blue and other things. It didn't look like a wave. I didn't know what it was. It may have been a mixture of soil and mud, I guess. My friend said, 'Let's get out of the car.' She had already gotten out from the driver's side and closed her door. By the time I reached for the door handle, I did see her standing there, but didn't see her again after that. I was frantic. I got out of the car and didn't even turn around. Even now, I really regret that I didn't turn around. If I had, I would have known exactly what had happened. But as it is, I have no idea now. None at all. Now I guess I will have to carry that around with me for the rest of my life. In the end, we were too late. She was able to escape with her life, but her friend was among the missing." Can you imagine that?
That's so sad.
Like, you just turn around and she's gone? Like
what if that was you and me?
I know, that's what I kept picturing.
I can't. That's so sad.
She just got ripped away like that fast.
And like you still have some sort of guilt of just like not looking back, but you're like also protecting yourself by not
trying to like
back.
save your life. Oh, you would just never stop thinking about that. I feel like
no, never ever. I would think about it every day.
Yeah, like what if I just looked? Like what if she was right there? Like what if I could have helped? Like
oh my gosh.
Okay, so the Sendai airport, which was located a mile inland, was hit by the wave at about 3:57. Airplanes flying overhead had been told to circle because there's airplanes trying to land. Like there's just so much going on.
Airplanes are trying to land. They're like, no, actually, there's no land.
It looks pretty bad from up here, actually.
Circle around.
I think we'll stay. So yeah, they had been told to circle and not to land after the massive earthquake, which was a very good decision as the runway began to flood.
Oh my God.
People were still trying to escape as they were swept away in their cars when the airport flooded. The wave easily cleared out entire parking lots full of cars and picked up planes like they were little toys.
Oh my gosh.
The city of Sendai, which was hit especially hard with 101 designated tsunami evacuation sites in it, they got hit by the wave. 101 spots for evacuation were hit. So they didn't plan them high enough. So people went to these spots thinking they would be safe, and they still got hit by the wave.
That's sad.
It's super sad. So there's just literally there was just no escape for a lot of people, sadly. Mm-hmm. Even if they
when they tried.
Miraculously been able to get to an evacuation zone.
Oh, that would piss me off. Like, I have fucking tried. And
I did my best.
Jesus.
So in some areas, the wave would travel as far as 6 miles inland. 6 miles. And then you have to deal with the wave receding and pulling all of that debris back out into the ocean.
Back. That's so true.
So
that's like another huge force the other
It's
direction.
getting sucked back out. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a wild story from the book Ghost of the Tsunami. Just get ready for this. It is insane.
Okay.
So a man named Taro Kono was interviewed after surviving the tsunami. He had been working in the Ishinomaki City Hall when the wave hit. The 2-story building he worked in was built on a rise about 15 feet above sea level, and the building itself had been elevated another 10 feet above that. So it's already built up high.
Yeah.
And it had like all of its essential functioning, like electricity installed on the top floor. So like these buildings are built with like this shit in mind.
Yeah.
The employees there had done countless drills on what they would all need to do in case of an earthquake and tsunami, but none of them were prepared for the intensity or length of the quake. Their digital earthquake monitor simply read as an error message at the end of the shaking. It's like, I don't know. This is too much. The employees all calmly and efficiently, because this is Japan, so people are not like in America where I think everyone would lose their goddamn minds. Like, we would all be disorderly and like
we would all be panicking,
killing each other.
Yeah, punching each other out of the way, trampling over each other.
Yes, but a lot of people in Japan are like calmly, efficiently trying to like do their tasks that they're assigned as soon as the shaking stopped. And so they all started alerting the town to the oncoming tsunami and then relocated back at the office along with additional children and elderly, bringing the count to 57 people, who all climbed to the second floor, thinking there was no way the water would reach them at that height. The officials there should have been begun receiving updates about the wave height, but they had lost all electricity and they had no idea a 33-foot wave was coming for them.
Yikes.
The official named Kono watched the river located behind the building turn from brown to white as it began to churn and froth. And then he noticed it was flowing the wrong way. Then he saw the river begin to suddenly flood with enormous amounts of water. He looked on to the town as water began to inundate the houses, lifting them up and carrying them away. After only about 5 minutes, the community of 80 or so homes had been destroyed or carried off.
Jeez.
The horrified onlookers watched the houses being carried away and then helplessly watched as the parking lot below began to flood with thick black water. They felt a shudder go through the building as the large glass windows on the ground floor smashed in and water flowed through the building.
Also the noise.
The noises.
It would just be rumbling and deafening rapids of force. Like I've heard people describe it as like a jet plane or like a jet on a plane, or just so loud.
Just the sound of rushing water would be loud enough, but then all the debris that's
crinkling,
crashing into each other.
Yeah. Ugh.
So much. So the building was shaking with the force of the water and groaned as a roof from another building slammed into theirs. Kono climbed on top of his desk as water surged onto the second floor, and then he was suddenly propelled outside into the black water, looking back as the water poured through the window he had just fallen out of. He watched as his colleagues suffered the same fate, but he was soon carried away in the cold, churning water. He described it like being in a washing machine. He was sucked down into the depths and felt the asphalt of the parking lot underwater.
Whoa.
So he got pushed down.
Whoa, that's scary.
I know. He saw his life flash before his eyes. He said it was all very like what they say.
Yeah.
Until he was suddenly aware he could move again and thrashed his way to the surface. Kono clung to whatever floating debris he could find and watched his coworker cling to a branch get pulled in the opposite direction. Kono was being dragged at a furious pace down the flooded river and was being pulled out to sea as the wave receded.
First of all, I never even think about that either. Is that you're in the water now and it's going the other direction back at sea.
Yeah, now you're being pulled out to the ocean.
That's so extra terrifying, being in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, because you're not just going to be like, now the wave's going away, you'll be on dry land. No, you're getting sucked back out.
You're still being tossed around, and now like what do you try to find something to hold on to? But like now you're just in the ocean. I hate that thought.
I know. So he soon found himself in Opa Bay. Like the bay.
Gosh.
He went all the way out to the bay.
Wow.
But much like the ripples of a pebble being dropped in the water, There's more than one wave in a tsunami, and another surge pushed Kono back into the river again. And he, once more, is swept down the river and is actually pushed past his original starting point, where he begins to slip in and out of consciousness.
Right. How do you live through that? Wow.
I mean, the amount of energy it would take just to hold on to something.
I mean, even though you're being tossed and you can't like have any control of how you're moving in a lot of ways, you're still trying to like fight it and move and get to the surface, and you have to hold your breath and shit. It's just so,
and it's cold.
It's freaking cold.
It's already going to be sapping a lot of your energy.
Yeah. Oh, terrible. And sometimes like the second waves is worse and bigger and already have debris in it. So like,
more destructive.
Yeah.
So when he came to, he was floating on a red tiled section of a roof, and his makeshift raft had floated near a house of a friend he recognized whose home had not been carried away. By now, Kono is in bad shape. He is soaked through and through and is freezing cold where he is. Oh, sorry. And where he is, it's actually snowing. Mm-hmm. So he's slowly freezing to death. Can you imagine surviving all of that and then dying from the cold? I would be so pissed.
So pissed.
I'd be the most pissed ghost. Anyway, so his friend comes out and calls to him from the top story. And through some massive amount of effort, I don't know how he did it, he's able to swim through her front door and climb to safety.
Whoa.
Yeah. He had been in the water for more than 2.5 hours.
What?
Yeah.
I'm picturing this happening in like 20 minutes.
That's about the right amount of time.
I know, tsunamis, and you're just in there for 20 minutes. Wow. That's...
Because he's getting pushed back and forth and like...
Oh my gosh, that's so tiring and so much.
Passing out and somehow still being alive.
I would hate to wake up and be like, I'm still in this shit. I'd rather die.
That wasn't a dream. Damn it.
Oh my God.
I'm at my friend's house and I still have to swim for my life.
Be like, you come get me.
Come get me.
Come get me. I think it was an old lady. She had like nursing back to health, but... he woke up the next day bruised and exhausted with 3 broken fingers, but somehow still alive. Like, he's lucky. Bruises and broken fingers, like, it could have been...
He could have broken ribs.
Or just gashed open by sharp bits, right? Floating around.
So much.
That was what happened in that Impossible movie, like, the wounds.
The back of that leg. Yeah, I gagged many times during that movie.
It was so realistic. I was like, that's too much.
Oh,
and baby Tom Holland is in that movie, which threw me off.
Yeah, he's a little kid in that.
He's a little baby. So he insisted on climbing over debris to get back to his office building, which was only a short distance away, but still took hours to get there. When he arrived, the building was just a shell, and the ground was littered with bodies.
I hate that.
Only one other person had survived out of all of those people.
That he worked with?
Yeah, and that had come to that building for safety, and the rest had died.
Oh, that's sad.
His coworker had actually been able to make it back, but he had died from exposure soon after. That he saw floating away. Like, they both somehow survived through the tsunami, but his friend died because he didn't have a nice little old lady to take care of him.
That's sad.
I know. It's just so awful. And that's just one of the stories from that book out of many. So it's a really good book. Like, I highly recommend it. So terrifying. Really, like, brings that story to life. And the main story in that book is about the Okawa Elementary School. It's so sad. They failed to evacuate its students to higher ground, and almost all of the students and teachers died. Which is pretty much the only school that happened to. So
really?
Yeah, I mean, other children died, but like this was the only school that like really failed hard.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. I mean, it could be in a whole episode by itself, but it's just so sad. I was like, I cannot do a whole episode on this story. It's too depressing.
Yeah, that's rough.
But I mean, I think the parents end up suing, and like,
yeah,
it's just the whole thing. I feel so bad for him. Okay, so as I said, in the story I just told, the earthquake and tsunami were not the only deadly events you could die from that day. Exposure to the cold weather killed a large number of people after they had survived the first 2 disasters.
Oh, so infuriating.
I know. What a day. Many people had become wet, and their they didn't have shelter anymore.
Right.
Their manner of heating was gone.
Their clothes are soaked.
Yeah, and then nighttime falls, and so the temperature drops even more, and so many people died from that. Also, more mind-blowing terrors from that day. A giant whirlpool was created off the East Coast. There's video of this, which apparently is not uncommon after a tsunami, but I'd never heard of that.
Wait, it just exists now and it doesn't stop? It's a continuing whirlpool?
No, it was just a result of the tsunami, but there's video footage of this huge whirlpool. It's huge, swirling around. There's like debris swirling around. There's a boat swirling around in it.
Biggest nope of the sea.
Yeah,
Ew.
whirlpools really freak me out.
That's scary.
It wasn't clear if there was anyone in this boat, but you can just watch this boat just being swirled around in there. I was just like, oh my God, how fucking terrifying. And I also haven't even mentioned the meltdown of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which, to be honest, could also be its own damn episode, so I will keep it brief.
Yeah.
But if you want a good podcast recommendation on the topic, I would suggest a show called Against the Odds. They do a multi-part series on it. It's super good. They go way into the whole meltdown. It's really good. Okay, so after the earthquake, the 3 nuclear reactors at the plant were shut down automatically. But because of electrical failures from the earthquake, the reactors are now suddenly dependent on diesel-powered generators in order to keep the reactors cool. Mm-hmm. And keeping those cool is obviously very important. Mm-hmm. Now, in order to keep them cool, diesel generators are used to used to power pumps that supply water used to cool the nuclear fuel rods. But there's a problem. In order for the generators to remain operational, they have to stay dry. And what's on its way? A big, pissed off tsunami who doesn't give 2 shits about your nuclear reactor. Now, the plant was terrifyingly located on the coast.
I was going to say, why would they think of putting that there? It seems like the wrong place to put that.
They do need the water, right?
Yeah, they do need the water.
But still.
But, God, the implications. So, I mean, because of the implications, they had constructed 18.7 feet high seawalls to protect the plant against a tsunami. But unfortunately for them.
What a cute thought.
Yeah, 18.7. That's not going to be a match for a 44-foot high wave coming for them.
No.
At about 3:42, the tsunami hits the hits the coast and the plant, bursting over the seawalls and flooding the reactor site. The generators are quickly disabled, leaving the plant with just one more backup power to cool the reactors. They are now relying on a battery-operated pump, but those batteries only have an 8-hour charge. Not good. So the batteries soon run out of juice, resulting in the cores overheating, leading to nuclear meltdown in the reactors. Mm-hmm. Soon after, a hydrogen explosion blew the roof off of nuclear reactor building number 1, followed by hydrogen explosions in the other 2 reactors in the following days. So now you also have nuclear contamination leaking out of the reactors and into the surrounding area, including the Pacific Ocean.
I hate this.
Yeah, it's not pretty. Japan sends in a team of men, including firefighters, if I remember correctly, to cool the reactors manually by pumping in seawater. By now, the area is heavily contaminated, and these men were exposed to a lot of radiation.
Oh, no.
Japanese officials were forced to evacuate any residents within a 12-mile radius of the plant, and over 110,000 were forced to flee the area.
It's a little bit different.
A little bit more. The meltdown would be rated as a level 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale, which was the same rating Chernobyl had received.
Same?
Yeah, they got the same grade.
Oh, no.
It's not an event you want to be related to.
No.
As far as I could tell, there was only 1 death officially recorded in relation to the radiation exposure. But the effects of a disaster like that are far-reaching and are, they're still going to be studied for years to come.
Oh, for sure.
Who knows? Of course, to make things worse, investigations into the disaster would only reveal the shortcomings of officials and the owners of the plant who failed to properly plan and prepare for such an event, and who delayed action after the tsunami for fear of damaging the reactors further and losing their precious money. They were like, we don't want to pump in seawater. It's going to ruin our reactors. They're like, they're gonna blow up, you idiots. Like, what do you want?
God. So annoying.
It's so ragey. Like, if you listen to that podcast, it's just like, God, I hate rich people. Ugh.
Rich people are worse.
Like, it's fine. It's just a bunch of poor people living over there. It's totally fine.
Ew.
Yeah, you'll blow steam out your ears. It's upsetting. So, obviously, all of these combined events were beyond devastating for Japan. Nothing this bad had happened since World War II, when they had 2 atomic bombs dropped on them. And yeah, that's a hell of a marker for a disaster.
Yeah.
The aftermath was breathtaking in the worst way, and the scale of devastation was immense. I mean, complete towns were just wiped off the map. It's hard to describe without looking at the photos of what Japan looked like after.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't even imagine, like, where they started to clean up. Like, where do you even start?
Where do you start? How?
It's just overwhelming. And to make matters worse, many of the people who would normally be tasked with leading the charge on search and rescue and cleanup had also perished in the disaster.
Of course.
So, like, policemen, firemen, first responders, all of these people would have likely put themselves in direct danger to help evacuate people from the oncoming tsunami. And sadly, many of them would be caught up in the wave while trying to rescue others. On top of that, the avenues used to transport supplies and help had also been damaged or crippled, such as roads, trains, crucial infrastructure. Even the landmarks had changed, leaving survivors bewildered when they tried to find their homes or what was left of them. They're like, the land doesn't even look the same anymore. Like, where do you even start? Of course, the saddest part of recovering from a disaster like this is the recovery and cleanup of bodies, of which there were many. The number of the dead started in the hundreds and quickly grew to the thousands, with the most recent estimate of 19,747 dead and more than 2,500 still missing. There was also an additional 6,200 injured. The majority of those who had perished were drowning victims, and more than half of them were over 65 years old.
Sad.
The coastal towns suffered the hardest, with Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima prefectures being hit the hardest. The estimated cost of the disaster was $235 billion in US dollars.
Wow.
Making the 2011 earthquake and tsunami the most costly disaster in history.
I believe it. Yeah.
100,000 cars were lost, 45,700 buildings were destroyed, and 144,000 were damaged, leaving behind an estimated 25 million tons of debris and rubble. Much of that debris was washed back into the Pacific Ocean and carried across the sea. I mean, I remember news stories. Do you remember news stories of, like, stuff washing up on our beach?
Yeah.
I think a whole boat washed up, or, like, part of one. People were all freaked out because everyone was like, is it radiated? Like,
oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah. It's estimated that 1 million tons of debris still remain in the Pacific Ocean.
Sad.
Was that what you were going to say about debris, or was there?
There was that lamp that washed up on the coast in Florence. It's in Florence. It has Japanese writing on the lamp.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
You know where it came from.
It's so chilling because you're like, this came from a terrible event. Like, it's not just it fell off a boat.
It literally like swimmed itself across the ocean.
After a tsunami. Like,
that's eerie.
Yeah. I think I even read stories about, like, weird animal life from Japan appearing on our coast that got trapped up in debris and stuff. They're like, this fish is native to Japan. Like, it should not be here. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's kind of wild too. The effects were just, like, so far reaching. It's
again, the massive scale is just so mind blowing.
Yeah. Okay, so immediately following the disaster, the Japanese Prime Minister Kan Nuato gave a rare public address and set up a command center in Tokyo. Relief workers and 100,000 members of the Japanese Self-Defense Force were mobilized to deal with the devastation. A number of countries, including the U.S., also sent additional funds and personnel to help with disaster relief efforts. 340,000 people would be displaced, and necessities such as food, water, and medicine were in short supply. Officials worked quickly to combat the fuel shortage and get electricity and phone lines back up and running, although efforts were hampered by the bad weather. But the Japanese people are resilient and did their best to rebuild and continue living their lives after horrible loss. A decade after the disaster, about 42,000 people are still displaced, with a majority of those being from Fukushima, which is still too contaminated with radiation to return to in some areas.
That's so wild.
You just lose your entire home,
and your entire city, everything that you're familiar with.
All of your belongings, all so sad. After the seawalls had been partially destroyed and rendered incompetent for the height of the 2011 tsunami, 270 miles of 50-foot seawalls have been constructed along the coast in the hopes that they will prevent a future catastrophe from occurring. I would hope 50 feet would do it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Additionally, tsunami evacuation zones have now been designated at higher elevations, and many places which had inadequate plans and preparations for the 2011 tsunami have been amended.
Oh, I would hope so. After that, they would just okay, we're going to have to really get prepared.
Yeah, and plan for the absolute worst.
Yeah.
While we hope an event like this never occurs again, I think we can all agree it's very likely to happen again, and maybe next time it won't be Japan, it's going to be here in the U.S.
Thanks, Abby.
Yep.
It's going to be us.
It'll be us.
It's going to be our doomsday. Earthquake.
Super fun to think about. But I think I'll just be done talking now. I'm going to turn the floor over to Shawna.
Oh my god. I'm going to continue the story.
Surprise!
Here I am.
Shawna hasn't told a story, and I'm so excited to not be talking.
I know. You need a well-deserved break. And I'm here to give you a very little one.
Okay. But should we take just a quick break first?
Let's breathe it for a second.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I am back, guys, and I have more of the story for you. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Shawna's going to continue. I'm so excited.
Thank you. So forgive me if I'm rusty, but here I am.
Here she is.
I'm trying to make this episode special for y'all.
So special and
I hope you missed
glorious
me.
and long.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a long one. Okay, so I don't know if not everyone really knows that there is a connection to this, but there is rumors and stories and legends of tsunami spirits.
Ghosts.
Yes, ma'am. So after the devastating tsunami hit Japan, causing billions worth in damages, like you just mentioned, Japan had no choice but to look ahead and start their journey of reconstruction. However, the tragedy continued to affect people in a more supernatural way. Residents across the hardest hit cities were starting to report ghostly encounters with those lost in the tsunami.
Oh, I mean, so many people died.
Very suddenly and horrifically.
How could you not have ghosts?
I know, right?
So sad.
It's so crazy. Okay, so shortly after disaster struck, many survivors began having a variety of sightings and experiences with what they call tsunami spirits. Anywhere from seeing apparitions on the beach or in doorways, seeing faces of the deceased appearing in rain puddles, all the way up to possessions.
Oh, there was definitely some possessions in that Ghost of the Tsunami book.
Yeah, I will probably mention some. There is a report of a local man who became terrified of the rain after the tsunami hit because he claimed he was able to see the faces of his lost loved ones every time he looked into a puddle. Ugh. Which is so sad to think about.
It's so devastating. And I'm sure it rains there a lot.
Ugh. Probably, right?
That's so sad.
So much PTSD I would have, and people would probably struggle with, right?
I mean, they have to, a whole generation of them have to have such PTSD. So many people were involved.
It's just so traumatic.
Oh, it's such a thing to live through, and just to deal with the aftermath. Ugh.
I mean, earthquake, tsunami, the reconstruction, the nuclear shit. I mean, it just is a long list of
so much to live through.
So much shit.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be kind of just inserting these little short inserts of stories of ghostly encounters.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So ready for it.
Okay, so there's a spirit of an old lady known to regularly appear in a refugee community in Onagawa. Sorry if that's wrong, but I'm not great.
I know, Japanese pronunciations are hard sometimes.
Yes.
I know I stumbled over some.
I kind of would avoid saying city names or people's names because I was scared to pronounce them. But here we are. Okay, so there was this lady in that refugee community. She would always be seen enjoying a cup of tea around the occupants of the home.
Oh.
The living there knew that she was dead, and no one had the heart to inform the spirit of that.
That's so sad.
I know. The spirit woman would eventually leave, and every time the cushion she was seen to be sitting on would be left drenched in ocean water.
Oh, that's so eerie.
Isn't it? It just seems so like, what?
Just, I mean, if you need like extra proof that she was like a ghost of the tsunami, like just leaving him behind seawater is just
Water.
oh,
Yeah.
so eerie.
Especially seawater. Yeah, very spooky. It's almost like these are, like, I feel like I can see like movie scenes of this, you know, like it's almost like that fantastical, but like,
But they don't really make her. It doesn't sound like they make her sound like some like horrifying.
no, she's just an old lady.
Yeah,
like she's just
a
hanging out,
regular person,
enjoying her cup of tea.
and doesn't know she's dead. Like, so weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
So many questions. Like, is that residual? Is that intelligent? Like,
Is
what's
she
going
just
on?
like replaying the last moments?
Yeah, is that just what she wants to do? I don't know. It's very interesting. But there's that one. There's a woman who had lost her 3-year-old son to the waves. In her new home, she created a little like shrine area for him, which included some of his old toys that she was able to actually, I think, recover.
Right.
He had an electric toy train that would turn on and make noise all on its own.
Oh, that's so creepy.
And the toy was inspected, and there was like just no way for it to turn on by itself without any like force to it. So it was just really weird that it would turn
I
on.
wonder if she was like comforted by that though. Like,
I kind of got it off the Netflix episode, which I'll credit a lot. But it seemed like that gave her like almost a sense of purpose to continue living, because like she was like reassured that her young son was still with her in that way. Like, yeah, I don't know. The way that people like think about and cope is interesting.
yeah, and there was a lot of interesting cultural aspects in Ghost of the Tsunami, like how they view afterlife life so like differently from us. And I feel like there was a lot of people, I mean, they would go back to their homes during or before the tsunami to try and grab like these cultural pieces that were so important to them and important for like their ancestors in the afterlife. So they would go back to their homes to try and grab this stuff because it's so sacred to them, and a lot of them died because of that.
Really?
Because it was just so important to keep that stuff alive and safe, or like their ancestors like literally, I don't know,
sad.
die in the afterlife or whatever. It's just like,
Yeah, I get into that later too.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's very interesting. Okay. A woman interviewed on the Netflix show described, which is Unsolved Mysteries, by the way. I'm not sure if I said that.
Oh, Unsolved Mystery. Oh, that was such a good. I haven't seen that in a really long time, but it was very good.
It was a good rewatch. I recommend it. Okay, so there was a woman interviewed on that show. It described one of her experiences. This woman says that she's always been, you know, quote unquote, odd in the way, in the sense that she can see spirits.
Okay.
So she, from a very, very young age, was able to kind of naturally see both the living and the dead in our reality, I guess.
Fun.
And she
Fun
super
childhood.
Oh my gosh, I know. But she thought that was like normal. She like thought everyone could see them.
Oh, okay.
But as she grew older, she obviously realized that wasn't the case, and she was the odd one out.
Yeah.
She describes spirits looking like kind of normal, alive, like how we are. Not anything like horrific, always with like a missing head or something.
Okay, yeah, not like corpse like.
Even though there's still reports of that, I'm sure. But this is what she always says and sees, that they look, you know, normal and alive, and they're just like you and me, but slightly translucent, just like a reflection in a window. Pretty classic.
Yeah.
And she was driving around one night, and it's dark out, and she came across a small group of men who signaled for her to stop her car, which is scary.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
Yeah, that's scary. But I think they were pretty young, like teenager-y maybe.
Okay, I still wouldn't. But
I'm assuming. I'm not sure. But anyways, she stops her car. And the reason why is because she can tell by the way that they looked that they were
not
dead.
alive. Okay.
They were spirits. They looked and appeared to be confused and lost, and they were telling her that they wanted to go home.
Oh,
This was sad. Rather than ignoring them, she made the hard choice in having to tell them that they had all passed away, in hopes that informing them of that, it would ease their suffering and they could understand and they were able to move on. Because it just seemed like they were confused.
right. Like if you died so quickly.
Yeah. Which is a very reoccurring theme in this, is that, like, they're lost or they're in limbo or, like, they don't know they're dead. And I'm like, that's really fascinating that's just always reoccurring, that aspect, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean.
Which is also terrifying because I don't want to be confused when I die.
No. I
don't like that.
No.
thought.
I don't want to still be here.
No.
Done my
fun.
time.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. This one's a good one. I think you helped me find this one. There was a fire station
Oh, yeah, this one's
who
creepy.
kept getting continuous phone calls from houses in areas that had been completely destroyed. The crew decided it would be best to travel to those areas and ruins anyway. They went and stopped to pray for the dead, and once they completed that, those calls to the fire station had stopped.
That is so eerie to get a call from a house that doesn't exist. Like
Multiple times, it seems like. It seemed like it was almost like frantic,
yeah, like that
but
is-
definitely multiple times.
into like the fire station, like they're calling because it's an emergency or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's so ghostly phone calls are one of those categories that really freak me out.
The way they can, like, semi be physical in our world, like I have.
Manipulate things.
Yes, I'm just like, how is this possible?
It's
Like,
so creepy.
so eerie.
I mean,
yes.
it's kind of cool that their culture, at least a lot of people, take it seriously in a way that they still go to the site and, like, you know, try and do their best to help the spirits along instead of just being like, no, that's weird. Like, I'm not gonna go.
Right. They kind of like play along with it,
Yeah.
whether they believe it or not. I think
Yeah.
just be respectful because there's just so much respect for the
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah. I think that's cool in a way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the most creepy and compelling reports are the ones that come from the cab or taxi drivers. Do you go cab driver or taxi driver? Does it depend on where you're at, where you live?
I don't know.
What term you use?
I guess I usually say cab. Cab.
I feel like taxi is like more New York.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I've
Just
never,
thought it was
never
interesting.
taken one, I don't think.
I'm going to be using cab drivers in this.
Okay.
So that's my choice. Okay. In 2016, a sociology
Yes.
graduate student named Yuka Kudo went to visit one of the cities most severely affected by the disaster. Kudo wanted to focus on the reports of the cab drivers. Out of 100 cab drivers that Kudo wanted to speak with, only 7 came forward to tell their stories. And I'll be mentioning a few. The first cab driver that Kudo spoke with had their spirit encounter just 3 months after the tsunami hit. There were very few customers at the time, obviously.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But one day, while driving around a particularly hard-hit area, the driver noticed a young woman hailing for a cab. What was odd about this woman was that she appeared to be wearing a heavy winter coat, and it was now in the middle of spring, summertime.
Oh, and it was winter when they hit. Mm-hmm. Or cold, at least.
Right. The closer that he got to the young lady, he then noticed the woman appeared to be completely drenched in water, which is so eerie.
So eerie.
Okay. And of course, on that day, it was a perfectly sunny day that day, and it hadn't actually rained in days.
Okay.
She climbed into the backseat of the car somehow. I don't know if the cab driver opened the door or the ghost just did it because they can do that. I don't know. I always have those kind of questions. But she makes it to the backseat. She asked to be taken to an area that was known to be in ruins. The driver then asked, "Are you sure that area is pretty abandoned?" as he clicked on the meter for the ride. A long silence ensued, followed by the woman's shivering voice asking, "Have I died?"
Oh no.
Totally spooked, the driver quickly turned around, only to find a completely empty back seat.
No.
I have chills.
No. That gave me chills. Oh my God. Have I died? Like, I don't want to be the person to tell you that. And she like, did she just realize it and then like pass over, or like?
Yeah, because he like informed her like, oh, that's abandoned. Are you sure? And then she's probably like, oh, have I died? Like, ooh, creepy. That's so sad too. It's just sad.
It's super sad. Oh, it's so sad.
Oh my gosh. Okay. A different cab driver in a different town had a very similar experience. One day, that cab driver ended up approaching what appeared to be a pretty confused and anxious young man. He kept just pointing ahead as to where to go. Then the young man was able to say a name of a mountain park near a city. Once the driver arrived to the destination, he turned around to get paid, but came to realize that the backseat had no one in it.
Oh.
Another similar story, because it's pretty much like picking up a person and then they disappear.
Yeah.
But it's so eerie. Another story that kind of touches my heart in an adorable way, kind of what we were talking about earlier, is that a driver picked up somebody that turned out to be an apparition. But he noticed that before he got to the destination, and he still continued to the destination. He decided to still go. And then he like, again, was kind of playing along, and just like, even though the place was destroyed and like everything was leveled out, he got out of the car to open the door for the invisible ghost to go home.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's just like, it's
Makes my
something
heart.
about that just makes me want to cry.
I know. Just like, I mean, it's sad enough to have an apparition, but like all of these people having to play along, and like what if it's just like happening to you multiple times.
And it's just like I don't know, it's just like that small little act of, I guess, respect and mourning in a way. It's just
like humanity and
humanity. Yeah, it's just sad and tragic.
it is. I mean, it's not like they knew those people, but they just knew the circumstances that so many people died in.
Yeah,
like,
it was just a whole community tragedy. So it's just terrible. I think that these cab driver reports are pretty compelling, since there are so many from multiple drivers in multiple cities. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I don't think.
Yeah, the connection.
Yeah. And what's also cool is that there's like timed record of these encounters because of the car meters.
Oh yeah.
So
they're not getting paid.
No, and you like can see the exact time that this kind of happened, and then they realized it was a tsunami spirit or whatever.
Oh, I hope their boss was understanding. Like, why'd you drive this and then not take any money? Like,
who knows if they even told it? Because I also have here that somebody had to pay for those rides, so the drivers would take the cut and pay for those rides themselves.
Ooh, wow,
crazy, right?
That's so crazy.
All right, before I get into more, I have a little break here.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
And here we go. Okay, so there are also some reports of people claiming to become possessed by the tsunami spirits.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like demons, it's like these lost souls or spirits or whatever. Because I think I normally think of demon when I think of possession.
Yeah, like a demonic possession for sure.
Right, but not like that.
So these are just like lost spirits just jumping into a body.
I guess.
Wow.
So there's a Buddhist priest that tells a story of a man who actually lived miles away from the coastline. And it took him months until he was able to bring himself to see the devastation. After witnessing the massive amount of destruction along the beaches, the man returned home to have dinner with his family. Once dinner was over, he walked into his backyard and started rolling around in the mud. And then he began speaking in a deep, guttural, aggressive voice that wasn't his. And obviously this terrified the family. And once he woke up the next morning, he had absolutely no memory of what happened the night before. So that was just weird and random. And he wasn't like near the tsunami zone. I don't like, you know what I mean?
He went there afterward, and
yeah,
there's still just residual spirits hanging around.
Mm-hmm. The same priest tells another story of a woman named Amy that knocked on his door. It was late in the evening when his wife opened the door. The woman seemed very, very ill, having to be carried inside. And she kept saying, "I feel many people inside me and I can't stop them."
Oh God.
Ugh, so weird. Out of all the people the priest has helped, many claiming possessions, he states that Amy is the worst case he's seen. Amy didn't understand what was happening to her. She just kept feeling everyone's pain.
Oh God.
Which just is so intense, I bet.
Yeah, for multiple people.
You're just feeling and reliving multiple people's last terrified moments.
Horrifying moments. Like, not, like, probably really painful deaths, too. Like,
yeah.
Ugh.
Ouch. Ugh. Terrible. Her personality would change drastically from each possession. The prayers would take a long time until they felt that she was released from the possession. But she kept having to come over to the Reverend's home time after time, like over and over to help release these spirits from her.
Amy girl.
Yeah, so it just like kept happening to her on like a weekly basis or whatever.
That's awful. How exhausting.
So exhausting. She also lived nowhere near the tsunami zone, didn't lose anyone to the disaster. She had no connection to it other than she was also a person who claims to be able to connect with spirits, and that she has from a young age.
Oh, wow. So she was just like open in that way. So everyone just
Right.
kind of clung to her.
So like it's like she's being bombarded by all these like lost, confused souls because they know that she's special or
Will
able
listen to them.
Yeah,
or like,
and it's just overwhelming because there's so many.
oh, man. That's awful. Poor
Yeah,
girl.
It's very tense. Many Japanese people believe that because so many people died before their time in the tsunami, that the spirits became restless and still wander our plane of reality. Okay, yes. So now I want to read off this little snip that you sent me, which is, you've already mentioned this book before, Ghosts of the Tsunami, written by Richard Lloyd Perry. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try to read this because this is not my writing. Okay. Here we go. When people die violently or prematurely in anger or anguish, they are at risk of becoming a gaki. Is that what we decided?
Gaki?
Gaki?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that means hungry ghosts who wander between worlds, propagating curses and mischief. There are rituals for placating unhappy spirits, but in the aftermath of the disaster, few families were in a position to perform these. And then there were those ancestors who lost all their living descendants to the wave. Their well-being in the afterlife depended entirely on the reverence of living families, which was prematurely and irrevocably cut off. Their situation was as helpless as that of orphan children. Tsunamis anywhere destroy property and kill the living. But in Japan, they inflict a third kind of injury, unique and invisible, on the dead. At a stroke, thousands of spirits passed from life to death. Countless others were cut loose from their mournings in the afterlife. How could they all be cared for? Who was to honor the compact between the living and the dead? In such circumstances, how could there fail to be a swarm of ghosts?
Ugh. And so, yeah, so it's like not even just the people who perished in the tsunami, it's all of the ancestors who no longer have anyone to care for them. And so
right, and
they
honor
die.
them. Like, yeah. And I really liked what you said is it does remind us of the movie Coco.
Yes.
Very similar spiritual kind of movie. And it's also beautiful. It's one of my top favorite movies.
Oh, it's amazing. I love that movie.
It's the best movie. Ugh.
Great
so
Pixar
beautiful.
film, Coco.
Just amazing.
But similar kind of like cultural beliefs where you revere and like really care for your ancestors in the afterlife. Otherwise they kind of like cease to be.
Right. Like they have that like shrine, like the Day of the Dead in that movie.
Yeah.
And if like they don't have somebody remembering them, then they die forever, like in the afterlife. It's like another death in the afterlife.
Right. It's just
Very similar.
it's kind of beautiful in a way, and like
Beautiful and sad.
yeah, because I know like a lot of Japanese families have like like altars or, you know, like shrine type setups for like their deceased loved ones, or they, you know, I know like Michael's mom burns like incense every year for her parents, and like
sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like a whole other aspect. You don't even think about that damage. And like I was saying, like people were running back to their homes to save these items.
Right. So sacred.
Yeah.
Sad.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So then on another source, I don't know if this is kind of conflicting, but whatever. But Richard Perry himself, the author of the book, on another source that I looked up, said that he doesn't believe anything supernatural is causing the phenomenon himself. However, he does acknowledge that people who claim to have these encounters truly do believe that they're seeing tsunami spirits. So I guess that's like, the sweet spot that you can go to.
He's like a journalist, like mostly just reporting on. There was another possession story I forgot to send you that was in that book. It was kind of similar to where this guy ended up going to a priest, but he like, I think he went to the coast like right after the tsunami, and he like after dinner started like barking like a dog, like rolling around on the floor, like totally, and then did not remember it at all the next day. And then he would start like going into these, you know, fits or whatever, and would be like, "You're all gonna die," and like just really creepy stuff. And he had to be like healed by a priest,
like kind of exorcised.
Yeah. And they were like, "Well, yeah, dude, you went to the coast like right after the tsunami, like all of these
they're gonna
spirits,
latch onto you,
attached to you, like,
you
dummy,
you dummy, duh.
Let me pray over you, God." So they had to like fix him, but I was just, like, his story was really creepy too. But they were like, even like dogs could have possessed you because like so many pets died.
Oh yeah, you don't think about that.
I know. It's really sad too.
That is really sad. Okay, so I got just a little bit more. Maybe more likely, could the tsunami spirits be a manifestation of a massive collection of community grief? A collective trauma where seeing spirits could be a big coping mechanism.
Okay, yeah.
There are coastal towns across Japan that have other outlets to help people mourn losses, some in creative ways. One town installed a white phone booth on top of a hill, which is overlooking the ocean, and they call it Phone of the Wild. And that way, like, at any time, somebody can go in that phone booth and, like, pretend to talk to their loved ones or, like, say their message. I don't know, whatever you want. But, like, you see that phone booth just sitting there for that, like, realm connection.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. That's so heartbreaking.
It's, like, eerie and beautiful.
Yeah, it is really beautiful.
Everything's very eerie, beautiful, and sad.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would like to end this episode on a quote, also from Richard Lloyd Perry, which I thought was nice. And it says, quote, "It doesn't really matter whether you believe in ghosts. What's real is the suffering and the pain."
Oh.
And that is my side of the story of tsunami spirits.
Thank you so much. That was heartbreaking and devastating and so very creepy.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you were able to contribute. We did
Me too. That was
like,
fun.
should we make a 2-parter? No, let's just make one super episode.
Super duper fun 100 episode special.
Yes. Some trauma for all of us.
There's so many. Yeah, it's like yours was like 2 in 1, honestly. Like earthquake, tsunami, and then a little ghosty tidbit on the end there.
Yeah. Which is, I think, just like some of the most interesting stuff.
Wild, wild, wild. Well, I'm proud of us.
Me too. Happy 100, you guys. We did it.
We did it, you guys. 100. We're best friends still. We don't hate each other.
Good job, Michael. Thanks for sticking with us.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, truly.
Yeah.
With me. Bravo to you for dealing with me.
We've technically done more than 100 episodes. This is just our 100th full-length episode.
Yeah.
So we killing it. Yeah, thanks for sticking with us, guys. We're not going to do like City of the Week or anything this week because we've already just been here for so long. It's already
so long. Why are you still listening? Probably just end this here right now. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, get up and good night, y'all. See you next time.
Happy 100.
Ooh, I got a lot of credits. Okay, so I read a book called Ghost of the Tsunami by Richard Lloyd Perry. For websites, I went to wikipedia.com, britannica.com, livescience.com, voyapon.com, noaa.gov, bbc.com, abcnews.go.com, militaryhistoryfandom.com, greatdisasters.co.uk, and newyorktimes.com. I also listened to the Great Disasters podcast, and I watched a I Know documentary on youtube.com.
Wow, Abby, impressive. My credits are allthat'sinteresting.com, episode 4, volume 2 of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, and a book written by Richard Lloyd Perry titled Ghosts of the Tsunami. Music is by Broke for Free, and we're edited by Michael.
All right, you guys, you know the drill. All right, Anxious and Afraid the Pod is our handle for both our Facebook page and the group, along with our Instagram and Gmail.
We're also on Twitter at AA the Pod.
You can support us at patreon.com/anxious and afraid. You get some cool perks, ad-free episodes. You get a release a day early. You get a sticker. You get a shout out.
We also have some cute, fun merch if you're interested in that. I always recommend buying a size up in men's. And you can find all of that listed in our episode notes and our website, which is really cute. And that's anxiousandafraid.com. Check it out.
You can also support us for free by leaving a rate and review. And please subscribe and tell your friends. And what it is, is a replica antique dish set from the Titanic.
Shut your mouth!
And this is second class, so I thought that was very appropriate for us.
That we would be second class.
Yes. So it looks like everything's in bubble wrap, so we're going to have to, it'll be a whole thing.
We'll flash forward to after all this unpackaging. It's a whole set?
Yeah, it's a whole set. There's, really cool shit in here. There's, teacups, there's regular cups, there's, stir sticks, and, a tray.
Wait, and this is, the exact replica?
Supposedly from what they used in second class. And it's, antique.
What's on it? Do you know what's on it?
It's
Did you see
red
pictures?
And white, I think, from what I saw.
So Titanic-like?
Yes.
Oh my god. I can't believe you found something like this.
I was like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. I have to get it.
There's so much. He's still digging through that tall-ass box.
This is
What, are we going to split this?
Yeah, I guess. We'll just have to pick out our faves and split it. It's like a complete set. It is insane.
Holy moly. This is so ridiculous and amazing.
So extra. Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm shook.
Yeah. 6,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, I think.
15?
I counted that one twice.
Oh, the one on top there?
15?
I think I counted this one twice. So
Oh, okay.
Oh.
that would be 14.
But
the one on top of the pillow here, Michael. Look up.
Oh!
Bring your face on up, Michael.
One there.
Okay, so 15.
We'll call it 20. Solid 20. We'll run that.
Oh my gosh.
So I wonder if I should just cut some tape and I'll hand her one and I'll... Here you go.
Is there scissors?
It's exciting.
Is there scissors?
Oh, yeah.
I'll get an extra cutting thing.
Oh, I can already see.
Skip all this opening part, or you can edit it however
Yeah,
you want.
we'll just have to edit it.
It's a teacup. It looks like it has an S on it, actually.
What is that? I wonder what that stands for.
I don't know, but it's Shawna now.
Oh my god! Oh, this is a cup. Oh, it's glass. Look at this red little cup.
Oh, what a delightful little cup! Oh my gosh.
This This is so fun.
This looks red too. It's probably like the same thing. Yeah. Man, they really took care of these.
They did. How long did it take to wrap all this shit?
What's going on?
Oh, it's a clock.
Oh, that's so cool.
We should put it on a mantelpiece and let it fall off like the ship is sinking. Just like in the movie.
That's cool.
It's got a little moon on it.
Where? Oh my gosh, that's really cool.
That's fucking rad.
Wow. What treasure?
I know. This is like a little treasure hunt.
It is.
Calendar too.
What?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Okay.
Oh, look at this little teacup. It's
Yeah,
so
it was a
pretty.
little different. So
I wonder if this is for like
cute.
espressos and that one's for tea.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there are still rules in second class dishware.
Yeah, they're fancy.
This is some sort of utensil. This.
Oh, that was stir stick?
Oh, yeah, probably. Look at it.
Oh, that's wild.
Oh, wait, this one's totally different. Wait,
I think it's a stir stick.
look at
Oh,
that
another one.
And then look at this.
Oh,
Weird. That's cool.
Last day trying to get in here so hard. Shawna. Too much noise.
He's like, there's one of those for me.
Whoa, this feels heavy. Another red cup. Ooh, what's that,
I
Michael?
will get all the weird stuff. Oh, it's for a candle.
Wow, that's so neat. It's so tall and skinny.
It's a little lantern.
That's cool.
Yes. I bet you there's like 4 cups.
Probably.
That's
fun.
so cool.
This has to be like a vase.
Oh, I bet you're right.
You gotta put some flowers in this one.
What? Our order got canceled.
Did they not have the cake?
No.
That's
Order
lame.
canceled.
The candle.
Lame. The
Oh.
candle. Wow, look at this hunker.
Dang.
Dude,
She's hefty.
she is hefty. Did you redo it or what are we doing?
I don't know. What do we want to... We don't have it.
What a tragedy.
And I think maybe he texted, but I was too busy and he just canceled it.
Aw, sad.
I think we can order Sweet Life.
Oh, really? You get sweet life?
Yeah, I saw that on there.
Sweet.
I don't know if it's like you have to order in advance. So we'll see.
Ooh, ashtray.
Hashtag.
Classy. The amount of bubble wrap.
I know, and strong ass tape.
Jesus.
I bet that this is great ASMR video.
Or someone's words.
That's actually a really cute ashtray.
Classic amber color.
Yes.
Oh, look at these little plates for the cup.
Look at teacups. Wait, how did you stumble upon this?
Goodwill online. It's kind of like eBay.
You were just surfing on it?
I was like looking through stuff, and then I was like, I wonder what happens if I just search Titanic, and then this whole dish set was there. I was like, holy shit!
What a glorious thing to think
I
about.
was just like, that is so random. I have to have it.
Was it because we were watching all that Antiques Roadshow?
Probably.
Oh my gosh, you guys are right. Oh my gosh, it's so
Ooh,
funny.
there's the serving tray. That's fun.
What's that look like?
It's bubble wrap.
Okay.
Beautiful. Ooh, what's this one?
Second class trash.
Oh, it's a big
Picture.
God, what?
That's so cool. Holy shit.
That is beautiful.
Look at her.
Oh my god.
White Star Line.
I love being a Titanic nerd.
I wonder if that's what the S stands for.
Oh, well, I
Starline?
thought it was RMS Titanic, but that says SS Titanic.
Wow.
Whatever, it's fine.
Don't look at it too close. It's like so weird. Off-brand.
That is so big for a picture.
You have to like set all of it up for the picture.
Yes. Any more? I don't think. Oh, it's the finale.
I know. What a reveal.
Oh,
That
Oh, that's
is
cool.
cute.
that's gonna break someday.
For sure. Between me or Michael.
Or the children.
That's also true.
We can just blame it on children.
I know, right?
It's definitely the kid and not me.
Just feels so thin.
Is it actual glass?
Yes, I think so.
Or green shit.
Wow. I like the frame. Beautiful.
Cool.
This is amazing.
Best impulse buy I've ever had.
I'm so proud of you. Wow. My heart is full.
We'll put her right here so we
On
can look at her.
display. Beautiful Queen Titanic.
We can take
And Michael's scared.
He's like, I don't want to keep touching it. We can take this stuff downstairs.
Oh, yeah.